Welcome back to the Cardboard podcast covering the Formula One card hobby. In today's episode, we are going to cover a little bit of the controversy, the rumors,
Intrigue.
the intrigue of potentially a new home for our four-time world champion, Max Verstappen.
Your four-time world champion. My four-time world champion is Sebastian Vettel, okay? Don't you forget it.
I won't forget it, and neither will the listeners of our fine establishment show. It's been a few weeks. It has been a few weeks. We have some also. We're going to talk about Max and potentially some impacts to George Russell. Also going to finally recap the pick'em results of the British Grand Prix. And like I said, get back in the saddle. Hopefully, we'll have another episode later this week. Previewing a great sprint race weekend in Spa. I think I misspoke a couple episodes ago. I thought I said Hungary. I think that's the one after.
Yeah, that's the one during the national weekend.
Yep. So Spa, obviously one of the best tracks, most historic tracks on the calendar. We always see some really good racing, and it'll be good. I mean, Scott, it has been a while. Both you and I have been super busy, and thankfully, because of the kind of 2-week break that we've had in between Silverstone and now Spa, we haven't really missed a whole lot. So it'll give us an opportunity here to dive in, have a little banter.
We'll see. Listen.
We'll see.
Listen. There's only one answer.
So we talk about the cats here on this show. At this point, Scott, I think there's a little bit more than there's got to be some fire where the smoke is coming here with Max Verstappen. We're obviously going to talk about Verstappen, potentially impact to George Russell, potentially even Kimi Antonelli, and the fact, Scott, that Silverstone came and went, no announcement for George Russell.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of the buildup, right? Everyone was expecting, we're talking, don't worry about it. The question had been raised multitude of times, whether to Toto or Russell. It's like, we're taking care of it. We're focused on the racing, right? And then obviously he doesn't get announced during the home Grand Prix. Everyone expected the contract extension announcement to come in on the Silverstone weekend at his home Grand Prix. So then the speculation became, okay, it was rumored that he was offered a 1+1 deal, right? So what that means is they would be together for 2026, and then both Mercedes as a Formula One team and George Russell as a driver would have the option to, say, hey, yeah, we want to continue for a second year, or, I'm going to test the water somewhere else. So George Russell purportedly declined the 1+1 offer and wanted more security, wanted, like a 2+1 kind of a deal, right? Where he's got at least 2 years locked in and then another. So we'll see. But obviously nothing's been signed. No announcements have come out. So then it's during the off season. So of course the rumor mill is going to churn, and there are already some rumors about it, but now the rumor storm is growing ever more that Max Verstappen is going to head to Mercedes. These rumors fueled even more so by the fact that during the offseason, Max and Toto's private jets both landed on the same island, and Toto was only there for a couple hours. Max spent some time there. So, allegedly they've met and discussed it. So who knows, right? I mean, it's obviously there's a lot of question marks in the air. I think one of the reasons that this is a big story too is because Max is kind of seen across the board as the best form driver on the grid. There's other drivers that are great, like Oscar and Russell and Lando and Leclerc and Hamilton and others, but Max is kind of just seen as, the cream of the crop. And it also sounds like the early rumors of the 2026 engine power unit regulations is that Mercedes has a little bit of a leg up. We've also seen this before in the past in 2014. So they know how to make a good engine. All lines are pointing towards it being an engine formula with not too much they can do on the aero side initially in 2026. So Mercedes should be a contender immediately. They're already kind of towards the front. Red Bull is in shambles right now. I mean, Christian Horner, we didn't even mention this, but Christian Horner now leaving Red Bull. I mean, news that happened in the offseason. And there's two lines of thought on that. One of the lines of thought is okay, yeah, Christian Horner left because Max is leaving. So then Red Bull's like, okay, well, you couldn't even keep Max, you're gone. Another line of thought is, oh, well, Max's dad and Christian didn't get along. So to keep Max, they got rid of Christian. Right. So, like, there's two sides of the story. Everyone's arguing. There's also another element that, Red Bull's sporting division of the company is owned primarily by an Austrian group and a Thai group. And the Thai group had owned 51%, and they had been, purportedly in favor of Horner. And the Austrian owned group had 49%. And so allegedly, the Thai portion sold 2%. And so then the Austrians have majority, and maybe they forced Horner out. Either way, it's a lot of question marks, and everyone's wondering, where is Max Verstappen going to end up next year? And that's the first massive domino that is going to have an impact, right? Because if he does go to Mercedes, obviously they've only got room for two seats. So then who ends up leaving? Is it Russell? Is it Kimi? I don't know. I have my thoughts, but I'm not sure, what they'd want to do. But it would make for some fireworks, that's for sure.
Oh, so much to unpack here. A lot of uncertainty. Let's talk about what we do know. And we got to bring it to the cards here. So we have a fun little debate here, and we drew straws and decided to take sides as it relates to the card markets for both of the main drivers in question here with Max Verstappen, George Russell. Although, Scott, as we were kind of teeing this up for this conversation, that it's kind of interesting that you did mention the four-time Red Bull champion Sebastian Vettel changing teams to go to reportedly a team that should exceed with the new regulations but didn't. I wonder now aloud, is Max also going to not necessarily suffer the same fate as his former well, they were never teammates, but Vettel leaving Red Bull, potentially Verstappen leaving Red Bull at this point. It does make interesting. We haven't really seen this a lot, at least since I've been watching Formula One since about 2021 is when I started. We've talked about it a bunch of different times on the show. So I don't have a long as history as you do, or many of our listeners, viewers, people in the Formula One card hobby, where I've seen a lot of the documentaries, Scott, or seeing things about Senna, Prost, Schumacher, like Lewis. I mean, drivers going for the best car, and it's talked about all the time. Like, you need the best car to win, and like, people are really gunning for those seats. Like, I think Max is in a very tough spot here, Scott, because the loyalty to Red Bull, the team that gave him a shot, the team that gave him his first win, the team that gave him 1, 2, 3, 4 World Driver Championships at this point. Does he feel like a traitor if he does switch sides to whether it's Mercedes or somebody else at this point? But I will say, just like Vettel, if Max never wins another championship, I still think he is in that pantheon of best drivers of all time at this point. I mean, he's earned that spot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I listen. Max is great. I think he is, one of the best drivers of all time. I think if you deny that, it's a little bit of blindness. But I also think that Max has won 4 championships. If he goes to Mercedes, even if he wins a 5th at Mercedes, like, what does that do for Max's card market? Like, if next year, think about this, right? If next year Mercedes let's just assume they're this dominant team, and it comes down to the 2 Mercedes drivers, and Max wins the championship. What happened when he dominated the championship over Sergio Perez when the Red Bull was dominant? If anything, I feel like his card market went down during that card period because people got bored with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the ceiling, and we're just talking like where their card markets are now, right? Like,
Yep.
if you listen, if you tell me a Max Auto 2020, a Russell Auto from 2020, I'm gonna take the Max, right? If they're both free. But right now, if you're paying $5,000 or whatever it is for a silver Max 2020 auto, and you can get the same George Russell auto for 1,000 or 1,250, I just feel like Russell has so much more room to grow. And I'll give you a good example of why. If Russell goes into this next year and he's in contention for the championship, I don't even think he has to win. I don't even think Russell has to win. I think if Russell is just in contention,
Mm-hmm.
his card market, 2, maybe 3x's, this is not financial advice, I think his card market goes insane. All we have to do is look at Oscar Piastri's card market. Oscar hasn't won anything yet. He's won races. He hasn't won a world championship. He's been leading it. He's been losing it. He's close with Lando. His card market has gone insane. And it's because it's another driver to collect. It's another big guy to go for, to gun for, to be part of it, right? I feel like, people wonder why maybe some of the legends don't sell for as much. And one of the big reasons, I think, is that people want to be a part of the moment. When you're collecting, you want to be a part of it. You can buy Schumacher cards, you can buy Senna cards, you can buy Prost cards, but you can't, sit there and watch a live TV broadcast with that card in your hand and root for them, right? Like, their careers are over. They've won their championships. They've had amazing careers, but they're over. George Russell, you could be a part of it. Don't you want to be a part of it, Brian? Don't you want to be a part of the hype? You, of all people, look at you. What shirt are you wearing right now? I think you're undercover, George Russell. You know what?
Maybe I'm undercover for Max at this point. I will say,
yeah.
people say this all the time, both about you and I. You probably have more team gear representative than I do. I think you've mentioned before, you've got gear for all 10 teams. I think I've got 4: Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari. I think that's it. So that's the extent of my fandom. But anyway, huge fan of the sport. So, but you're right. So
I'm right.
And we've dealt, well, potentially. But I mean, like, it all depends too of like what's baked in. So, like, to your point though, is if Max changes teams, goes to Mercedes, and then they go on another 7-year run because they decide not to upgrade, change the regulations again for quite a while. We do know that they were delayed before, and that's why they went for the 7 years. It was 2014 to 2021.
Yep.
That was a little bit longer than they typically go. COVID had something to do with that. But I mean, if he gets in and he does change teams and he rattles off, let's say 3 wins, and he's on par with Schumacher and Lewis, and he's sitting there at 7, and then you're part of something that you want to get that number 8. It does seem really far-fetched. And I will say, it feels like, Scott, that this grid right now is as good as it's been in a long time, where at least the top 4 teams, maybe Red Bull being kind of not necessarily the top 4 team anymore, but like, you really think about it, you've got 7 drivers that on any given weekend, all things being equal, can win races. And you've also got former world champions down the grid with Alonso. There's a lot of talent on some of the midfield teams, and there's prior race winners there with Ocon and Gasly. There just seems like it's even tougher now than ever to be able to exert your dominance on the sport like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and we've gone through it. I mean, I will say so much of it comes down to the car, right? And then the pairing you have at the team. Because, Mercedes domination, 2014, 15, 16 were still exciting seasons because Rosberg and Hamilton had, for the most part during those years, had season long championship battles. 2017, 18, 19, and 20 weren't that exciting because Bottas would fall away. And he could never keep pace with Hamilton over the course of a season, right? And then we got to 2021, obviously one of the best seasons of all time. But 2022 started well, and then Red Bull was just huge, and Max didn't have a teammate that could contend with him. 23, even 24. It's just, I think if the winner of the championship is so dominant over their teammate, it actually like hurts their market almost in a way. Whereas I think if it's close, then, the market will swing from week to week. I mean, look at this year with Lando and Oscar,
Yeah.
right? I mean, Lando started ahead, then Oscar jumped ahead, and it's kind of swung around. And I mean, if Lando takes the championship lead again, there's potential that his market's going to see another increase, and maybe Oscar's recedes a little bit, but they've kind of been going toe to toe. And again, nothing is settled. Neither of these drivers have won a world championship, and at the end of the day, one of them is going to, and one of them won't. I doubt Max or George are going to make a run here late in the season. I really do think it's coming down to Piastri or Norris, but I guess like next year, we also have to take into account like this Mercedes seat thing. We don't even know if Mercedes is actually going to have the best car. They may well have the best engine. You know who also has a Mercedes engine? McLaren.
Williams.
Williams and Alpine next year too. But like, I mean, you can, Alpine and Williams, they may be competitive, but darn well McLaren is going to be competitive, right? And right now, McLaren has the same engine as Mercedes, and they have a better car. They have better aero. So what about next year means that Mercedes is going to be dominant? I think they'll be in the mix. But I think that, again, if you're not going to win a championship, because there's no guarantee that Max or Russell would win a championship with Mercedes, as long as you can be in contention, I think it's important. But I think Max in contention for the championship does less for his market than Russell being in contention for the championship. I think if Russell's in contention, his market immediately explodes. And you also have to look around and see, okay, so what do we have? 2020, all or both of these drivers have been in every year. 2020, 1, 2, 3, 4. Russell has rookie cards. Max doesn't. I mean, he has first appearance. Some people call it rookie cards, whatever. George has a RC stamp. And we are seeing the power of that RC stamp in 2023 Oscar right now. Base cards, refractors, purple out of 399. This stuff is going nuts for Oscar if it's in a PSA 10. And the same thing is going to happen for Russell. His rookie cards are going to explode in 2020 if he's in contention for the championship. And that's why I think Max is a safer bet. Okay. I'll agree with you there. I think Max is a safer bet. He's already won 4. He goes to Mercedes. He's got a shot to win a 5th. Even if he doesn't go to Mercedes, like his career is amazing, he could still do something. Russell, I feel like, has a much higher ceiling in terms of the movement his cards can take. But I will admit, Russell is a bit of a gamble because, if you go all in on Russell and Max takes a Mercedes seat, then where are you?
Let's just play out a couple of these scenarios here, Scott. So
Sure.
you're Toto Wolff. Let's say
Red Bull. I'm rich.
You're rich, baby.
See ya. I'm done. I'm rich.
Mo money, mo problems. Podcast over. So Scott, you're Toto Wolff. Let's say
No,
whether
Mikey, no.
whether there's a fee to release Max or not, it's rumored to be over 100 million. Red Bull's not in contention. It's a fact right now. What do you do?
As Toto?
As Toto, you are Toto Wolff right now.
I signed Max Verstappen.
Yeah,
I
you do.
signed Max Verstappen.
Okay. Second part of that, who's his teammate?
I'm evil Toto Wolff, and I keep George Russell on and make Kimi Antonelli go to Formula 3 since he skipped it before. We send him back down to the minor leagues. No, I don't know. Listen, I guess you have a point.
Where is the most logical landing spot for George next year?
If Max goes to Mercedes?
There's two. So if Max changes teams,
yep,
where does he go? And if Max doesn't change teams, obviously, I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion that he'll still be with Toto next year.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I think if we say if Max changes teams, I think there's only two places he could possibly go. 95% chance he goes to Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
Outside shot, I give it 5% that he actually goes to Aston Martin. A lot of pieces have flowed that way from Red Bull, and new regulation. He likes Honda, and they're going to be working with Honda, although there are rumors their engine isn't quite as good where they wanted it to be at this point. But I think there's a little potential. But yes, I think Max probably goes to Mercedes. And then the logical scenario, if that happens, is that you would keep Kimi. And that's because you have Max as your superstar in the now. You have Kimi as your up and coming kind of. I think those pairings generally a little less fireworks than if you kept Russell there. Toto's been through it before with Rosberg and Hamilton, 2016. He said he'll never do it again. He never wants two drivers like that. Russell and Verstappen may not only fight on track, they may fight off of track. I think they are the two drivers paired together in a championship battle. I think they actually have the best odds to get into a physical altercation over any other two drivers paired together. I literally think it's actually possible. Max has done it. Max has put hands on Esteban Ocon before. And George Russell doesn't put up with any of Max's crap. Like Russell stands up to Max more than anyone else, calls him a bully and all that. So George is not going to let down on the track, off the track, anywhere. And George has been with Mercedes. He's been with the Mercedes family for years. Ever since he came out into Williams, he's been part of the Mercedes family. And now he's been with Mercedes since 2022. So I think it would be tough for Max to come in if they did. Oh my God. I think Max and George on Mercedes in 2026, maybe we get lucky in my mind in this scenario. And McLaren just misses on the regulations in the first year. And it is just Mercedes and no one else. We go back to 2014. Mercedes is a second clear of the field. But it's George and Max. I mean, listen, a George Max Mercedes interteam battle year long would be absolutely legendary. I would pay money for that to happen. And that would be probably good for both of their markets, to be honest. Poor Kimi, though. That'd be tough for Kimi. But wow.
Yeah, and this just, to me, like, results matter. And the fact that Verstappen would be the preferred choice of almost any team on the grid, I think speaks that it's a pretty easy slam dunk on that point, just on talent alone. For me, I will concede your point on Russell being a better buy. Again, not financial advice, just because of the room to run. And I don't think it could go much lower. Because I mean, he is a multiple race winner at this point. My point being, though, is if he's not in a Mercedes seat next year, the alternatives aren't great. I don't think he's a preferred
Yeah.
choice of Aston Martin. I don't think they would put George Russell in over Lance Stroll. Fernando is locked in for at least a year. I don't think he hangs it up. Alpine, maybe, but I mean that team is just a mess. I think any of the alternatives, I think, does not put George in a race winning car, and if he's not with a Mercedes. So if you are a George Russell truther at this point, you are rooting for him to keep that seat.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. The only scenario in which I don't want him to have the seat is if he maybe goes to Aston and Newey builds, Elon Musk rocket ship 2.0 or something, and he's able to get something done there. But yeah, I mean, listen, it
It's
if they
so
switch teams, not good for Russell.
it is so hard to speculate in, in this sport. It's fun as hell. Don't get me wrong, and you always want to be on the right side of things too. But for as people as dialed into the sport as we are, you super more than I. We don't truly know anything, and that's what makes it fun. Is like you said. I will again concede your point. It's fun to be part of the ride of being there. I mean, you saw it in
You
2020.
love being part of the ride,
Oh,
Brian.
I will fully admit I root for the winner. I love watching. I don't want to be depressed when I watch a Formula One race.
You're on the bandwagon, actively looking for the next bandwagon.
Yeah, I will 100% agree to that. I have no problem with
You own
that
it, though.
whatsoever. I do own it. I also changed my mind and opinion a lot as well. So it must be maddening to watch this. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. He just changes his mind as the wind blows a different direction. But I don't know. This is a fun little exercise. We will definitely revisit this, and as soon as we have any kind of concrete news on this, we certainly will dive back into this.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, right? I mean, listen, we just saw this with Lewis Hamilton. No one thought anything was happening at Ferrari. They had a good 1-2, not even 1-2. There's a good pairing of drivers, right, with Leclerc and Sainz. Lewis Hamilton comes calling, and I think it's the same thing for Max. If Max wants to go somewhere, I think he's going to go. Although I do think you're underestimating. If George Russell is on the market, I think a lot of teams do whatever they can to get him. Like, I think all of a sudden Cadillac, Audi, Aston Martin, all of these teams are going to try to get him. Williams would probably try to get him back. Like, I think a lot of teams, if George Russell just randomly out of nowhere becomes available. And I honestly, I bet you a lot of teams are already talking to him. I bet you a lot of teams are like, listen, Toto doesn't care about you. Okay. Toto is vacationing with Max. He's at the Coldplay concert with Max. Toto and Max are everywhere. They're on the Kiss Cam. And you should
that
come hang out with us in Williams.
that meme has gotten a lot of run. I actually was
It
just at
has.
Gillette Stadium a couple weeks ago with my family to watch
Oh,
Messi play the New England Revolution. That was so awesome. Like,
yeah,
my
that's
son is
awesome.
so into soccer, but to watch like a living legend, just it was so fun to. That was one of the things I have been busy on. We both
No,
had vacation around the same time in the last couple weeks here. But anyways, whew. All
love it.
right. Speaking of recapping, where things that we need to talk about, obviously, Silverstone seems like it was forever ago. Years ago, Lando finally winning his home race, said he would trade all the wins for a home race win. Some controversy regarding it. Oscar feeling like he was wronged with the restart, kind of doing Max Verstappen things. It is what it is.
Wait,
McLaren.
doing Max Verstappen things? No.
Oh, he definitely
He
did the
he did
Max.
it to Max Verstappen.
Well, he did a Max Verstappen thing to Max Verstappen. But
No,
anyways,
he did a Sonny Hayes thing, right?
oh my
Sonny Hayes
god,
came in, knew all the tricks about
we haven't
Formula
even talked
One.
about the Formula One movie
He
either.
knows every trick. Those guys racing, they don't know what they're doing. Listen, tell you what,
I will.
put me in the car.
I will say
I got all the
this:
tricks.
the best review I had, Scott, of the Formula One movie. We went as a family, We all loved it. I mean, they Hollywoodified it. I mean, that you're going to get that. So I have a good friend, Blake, who I've gotten into Formula One the last couple of years. He's a huge Mercedes fan. He owns a Mercedes, Mercedes fan through and through. And I was like, well, what'd you think of the movie? He goes, 2-3 years ago, I would have absolutely loved it. He goes, now that I know what's going on, all of everything that happened was completely absurd. I'm like, well, if it gets more fans in the seats, more people talking about, I've seen so many more people talking about Formula One now than ever. It definitely mission accomplished there.
Well,
speaking
real quick, hold on. Hot take. I got one question for you. What's more believable? A former F1 driver coming back onto the grid after 17, 20 years away from the sport, 30 years he raced with Senna and Prost. So he's been gone for a while, out of the sport for 30 years. Comes back, he's in his 50s. So comes in, wins a race in a team that's terrible. So what's more believable, that or the movie Cars, where the cars can talk? I don't know. I actually don't know which one is more believable. I don't know which
Nico
one
Nico Hulkenberg podium. I mean, anything is possible.
He did podium, but he kept at it. He didn't drop for 30 years and come back in. It's funny.
Well, speaking who was top step of the podium this last time out, Scott, we have the break credit winner of $100 from the 2025 British Grand Prix in Silverstone, going to
Rocky and Clay. And Rocky and Clay, shout out to my man, was actually at the Canadian Grand Prix, and he was there opening a pack. He got to open a pack of Finest with me. And I think he hit a Nigel Mansell black out of 10 Intimidators auto. So pretty cool card. And now here we go. This one actually isn't really luck. I was going to say lucky again, but this one isn't luck. This time he just did it on his picks, made the right picks. 48 points out of a maximum score of 55. The average score 36.5, pretty low. One of the lower weekends. There were a lot of tough matchups and a lot of flippy floppies. So $100 going to Rocky and Clay. We've had quite a bit of mix up in the top 16 here. And this is we're actually past halfway for like this portion of the challenge, because again, it's the first 20 races that we do this, and then it's going to be bracketed for like the top 16 people. So we only have 8 races left. It's actually crazy. We're getting down to it. But Adam Hareen has been in first for, I think this is like 5 weeks in a row now at 513. G Myers Cards in second at 510. Spyro and F1 Ben tied for third at 509. The Iceman F1 in fifth at 508. Branham Jim and C Dent 15 tied for sixth at 506. Lando Cardrissian and Fire and Ice Cards tied for eighth at 505. Dead Brick Cards and B Cornell Cards tied for 10th at 503. EC87 GTI Ewan at 12th with 500. Then we got Max McDowell 6 and Putty F1 tied for 13th with 499. And finally, MN Purple, Kevin and E Kraus, Eddie tied at 497. Tied for 15th, 16th. There's actually another person who's tied with them as well. But we do count back. So like if you're tied, we go, what are your highest scores? So like pretty much everyone got a perfect score that 1 week. So everyone's got like a 55, and then you go back from there. So it's just going to be highest score all the way to do tiebreakers for that. But yeah, so that is the top 16 with 8 races to go. To see,
Scott, I forgot to enter again.
I know.
I am the worst. I am the worst co-host.
At this point, if you've missed 2 weeks, you probably can't finish in the top 16, but you can win $100 every week. So you might as well.
I'm a company man. I'll let somebody else. I don't want to take all the glory here. Yeah, exactly. I'll let somebody else have the fun.
But we did have some close matchups and some good matchups. We had Lando Norris against Lewis Hamilton. Lando, of course, won. 84% of the community voted for him. Piastri and George Russell. Piastri won. 94% of the community got that right. Max against Kimi Antonelli, which was a little bit of a grudge match after Kimi took him out. 87% took Max, and he won. Yuki Tsunoda against Liam Lawson. This one was surprising. 79% of the community thought Liam Lawson was going to win, but Yuki got the job done, baby. And then this one was a blowout. We had 2 blowouts. One was right, one was wrong. Charles Leclerc against Oliver Behrman. 100% of the community chose Leclerc, and he lost to Behrman, the home driver, the home lad. Ollie Behrman getting it done. Leclerc, the strategy. I mean, listen, we don't want to talk about Leclerc's race in Silverstone. Fernando Alonso beat Esteban Ocon. 82% of the community voted on that correctly. 56% took Gasly over Stroll. I was surprised that wasn't higher. I thought more people were going to take Gasly, but he did get it done. Albon, 84% of the community correctly picked him over Bortoletto. This was another big one. Carlos Sainz, 61% of the community picked him, and they got it wrong because not only did Nico Hülkenberg beat Carlos Sainz, but he beat a whole lot of people, and he got on the podium. So 39% of the people got that right. And then this was the other blank, Isaac Hadjar against Franco Colapinto. 100% of the community took Hadjar, and he did get the dub. So that'll bring us...
Just one thing quick before we do that.
Sure.
We haven't even talked about Hülkenberg at all.
I know. Insane.
One of probably, I don't know, maybe top 10 moments that I've witnessed in the last 4 years of watching.
Yeah.
And I don't have the history of seeing all the lean years and the time out of the sport. I almost felt like Scott had overshadowed Lando's home win. I thought Hülkenberg getting the podium finally was even bigger news because like Lando is doing good, McLaren's doing good, whatever the penalty to Oscar, fair or unfair. I just feel like it kind of again, you had a situation where I don't think Lando should have given it back in any way. I know Oscar had to just ask, like, Lando's asked in the past of like
Oscar even said that too, right? He's like, I didn't expect it, but you gotta.
But I feel like the bigger news was Hülkenberg finally getting the podium.
No, I agree. Right? I mean, broke the record for most races without a podium. So finally, he's on the podium. I actually think, if you're watching that race and you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, I think you can get a sense of yourself of how big of a Lewis fan are you and how big of an F1 fan are you? Because I think even if you are a Lewis fan, if he's your guy, if you love F1, I think you wanted Hülkenberg to get that podium. I think you did. But I know that there are definitely devout, huge Hamilton fans that wanted him to get the podium because it's Silverstone. He's been on the podium basically every single time. Not anymore. But it was funny because I was watching with my sister and she's a big Hammy fan. She's like, come on, Lewis. I was like, can't you let Hülkenberg just get one? I was like, Lewis has got hundreds of podiums. Get out of here.
It's like that SpongeBob meme where he's sitting at his little table with his one little, crappy patty, and there's somebody next to him. It's got like a huge mountain of them. That was Hülkenberg against Lewis in that one. So, anyways, we had to give him another mention.
Glad to see him get it done. So this is also interesting. Driver standings through race 12. So this is, again, every driver's just been going up against another driver. By the 20 races, every driver will have gone against every other driver once. And right now, Max Verstappen, the only one with 11 wins, 11-1. Lando alone in second at 10-2. Oscar alone in third at 9-3. And then we've got 4 drivers at 8-4. And they're all from different teams. Hadjar in the V-Carb 8-4. Leclerc in the Ferrari is 8-4. Russell in the Mercedes 8-4, and Albon in the Williams 8-4. So all 4 of them doing a great job. Again, a lot of this, you don't see the strength of schedule here. We're not CFBing it because at the end of the day, they'll all have the same strength of schedule. But up next, Yuki Tsunoda actually alone at 7-5, and then we've got Lewis Hamilton and, wouldn't you know it, Nico Hülkenberg both at 6-6. And we have
Some respect on his name.
I know, right? A ton of drivers at 5 and 7. Sainz, Lawson, Gasly, Bortoletto, Behrman, all 5 and 7. Ocon and Kimi Antonelli. Surprised to see Kimi down here at 4 and 8. I mean, in a Mercedes, he has gone against, I think Kimi has gone against Max, Lando, Piastri, Russell, Leclerc. Like, he's gone against a lot of the good drivers. So I think he'll be back up there. He should at least be able to go, 6 and 2 in the last 8 here. Alonso at 3 and 9. Janko Calapuan 10 and 2, and Lance Stroll solo dolo alone by himself at the bottom at 1 and 11.
Poor Lance.
I know. What are you gonna do?
Well,
It's
go ahead.
I was
We're
gonna say,
so
it's
out of
funny.
practice here. We're tripping
It's
over each
true.
other.
It's true, and we're in a combative podcast, But it's funny. I think after Australia, there was all those cars off in the wet, and it was crazy and everything. And Hulkenberg, I think, got 7th place or 6th place, right? And I was saying they may not score this many points the rest of the season.
Boy, were
How
you
wrong was
wrong.
I? I would get the egg all over my face, because not only did they score more points, but Hulkenberg tripled that score in one race. Which actually, maybe we should talk about it next time. The team standings are all over the place now because of that race. Like, it's pretty crazy between Stake and VCarb and Williams and Aston. If you actually look at the form of the car, it's also pretty interesting, because we're going to get to the point pretty soon here, Brian, where the teams are going to slap on their final upgrades, and that's it. Some of the teams are already done, so we're going to see them just kind of fall back. But teams that put on new upgrades, Ferrari has a huge upgrade coming up, big suspension upgrade change with their rods. So that should be something that helps. They think, like a lot of people are talking about, it's a silver bullet for them to really fix their car. We'll see. A lot of Ferrari hopium going around, but I do hope it brings them. See, there you go, hopium. I hope it brings them into contention. Teaser here. Next episode, we should be able to get out another episode on Friday. We're hoping. And we'll be talking about the new pick'ems, so the matchups for Spa, and also our predictions. It's a sprint race weekend, so we're going to be predicting sprint race or sprint pole position, sprint race winner, pole position, and the podium for the race, as well as a castle call. And I'll give you my castle call right now.
Ooh.
Castle call right now, a couple days early. I think we are going to have 4 teams in the top 5. 4 teams represented in the top 5. And that's what I got.
Spicy.
Always.
One thing I wanted to just throw out there, just because I just happened to see it today, and if I don't mention it now, ADHD brain will go away and we'll never talk about it before. But very interesting thing I saw today, Scott, that Topps is doing for one of the baseball releases coming up with Hall of Fame. So talking about those legends, Hall of Famers in baseball, legends of the sport in Formula One. So with Ichiro, they are doing a rainbow that you can collect, but it will take you 7 years because each parallel is only going to be in each release. I think they're starting with an out of 150 this coming year, and then the following year, and the following year. So 7 years. So talk about longevity in the collecting space.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. I know they've done like the Grail type thing where it's
so Grail across products,
1 year across products, right? So
that's Topps saying, hey, we're going to be around for a while, and they are, because they're collecting IPs like Infinity Stones at this point, but with Fanatics. But yeah, I just thought that was really cool. I have no inside knowledge whatsoever. This is just me being a fan and speculating, but I think it would be pretty cool, Scott, to have something similar to kind of give a little bit of intrigue to, say, Nigel Mansell or Ayrton Senna, like those things where You know, you're not as excited when you get one of those in a hobby box or in a break or something like that. But if it's a set that could take multiple years to collect, that'll give some, you know, that'll kind of keep the chase on a little bit.
Vettel. Championship years, Vettel. Let's go. Come on. Let's see it tops.
Make it happen.
4 years.
All right. 45 minutes, Scott. I think we can pull the plug on this particular show and get ready for our Friday episode at this point.
Alrighty. Well, everyone, I'm happy it's race week. I hope you are too. And while we're waiting for our next episode to come out this week, in the meantime, collect your cardboard and keep it carbon.